Welcome back to Backlog Bread, and I'm your toast, FredBread. On this channel, I'm going through my massive backlog or breadlog around 100 different games and beating them one at a time. My backlog has recently grown with the spring sale, with another 3 games, including Magicka 2, Vampire, and Dying Light Definitive Edition. And last time we were all together, I was able to eat Dishonored, and I found that game to be toasty. We all have a backlog of games, and hopefully if these games are in your breadlog, then I can help you decide on when you should play them. My scale on how I rate these different pieces of bread comes in 3 different rankings. The first is toasted, which means that the game is very enjoyable and should be played as soon as possible. Play it. Just play the fucking game. The second is fresh in the bag, which means that the game is good, but there are a couple setbacks and should be played after the game you are currently playing. Like if you're playing one game now, then you play it immediately afterward, or you can play it concurrently with the game you are playing at the moment. So I've been playing a lot of Minecraft, and that's just the other games I'm playing at the moment, whatever's in my breadlog. Finally is the third rating of moldy, which means that the game is unenjoyable or terrible, or in other words, it's shit, and should only be eaten when you are bored and have literally nothing else to do to occupy your time. And boy, are we going to get into something quite moldy. I am just an average gamer who likes to spend his free time playing different games, and that means if a game is fun, then the rating reflects that. Easy as that, as long as the game and the mechanics hold up to today's standards, but usually that also means if the game is fun. And this also means that games that are seen bad by bigger critics can be seen good in my point of view, because all games, whether good or bad, can still have some enjoyable aspects to them all. There are always pros and cons to everything. The game I am eating my way through the breadlog is Star Wars: The Clone Wars Republic Heroes. So before I talk about the gameplay, I need to talk about why this game was in my breadlog. This game was purchased in the Star Wars bundle in 2013, I think in the spring collection, when all those games from that time were all together. So when I bought it, it came with about 10 to 15 different games, and as an average Star Wars fan, I was excited to get all these games for cheap, especially since Steam is fantastic with its bundles and will give a bigger discount on the discount of a single game for all of them. So I was able to pick it up when I was quite young at a good price. Also, I was excited to learn more about the canon and non-canon universes of Star Wars, and I always found the non-canon to be a lot more interesting. And because of that, I never played the games that dealt with the canon, which is why I never really got around to this game specifically. Also, at the time, I was a teenager, or basically wheat, and thought the Clone Wars was only for kids. But once I got to college and became a piece of bread, I watched the show and was really just upset at myself that I just didn't watch the show sooner and could have played this game sooner. But I'm really happy I didn't, because oh boy. And finally, after around 13 years of having this game in my breadlog, I finally got around to playing the game, and I wish I never did. So we need to talk about the gameplay and some of the background of the game, right? So the background of the game is that the Clone Wars is in full swing, with the Republic against the Separatists, and the Republic with the Jedi and the clones are in a civil war against the droids and their leaders and the Sith. The Republic is trying to just regain control of what they had, while the Separatists are trying to gain their independence. And at this point, they kind of know they're being used as pawns slightly, but at the same time, they don't know to what extent. And I like how this game is shown to us in many cutscenes that are reminiscent of the show, and it kind of tells the story that way so we know what we're doing as the player, because when we play as the Jedi and the clones, we're trying to figure out who is sabotaging the Republic and who is using these different resources to create a super weapon, and it all comes together in a joint effort to take it out. Throughout the game, the player controls different characters that are prominent not only in the Clone Wars show, but in Star Wars in general. And some of these characters include Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mace Windu, and even clones like Cody and Rex. So it's not just playing as Jedi, you get to play as the clones who are well beloved by many who have watched the show. And in each mission, the player goes to different areas, taking out droids and completing sub-objectives besides destroying all the different droids in the area. And in these missions, there are various different pickups for the player to collect if they so chose to. And these include a point system, which allows the player to purchase different things from upgrades to cosmetics to cheats, which is interesting. And another one of these pickups are collectibles, which kind of give lore, and they're also used to unlock different cosmetics. And then finally, there are pickups to increase your damage, your point multiplier, and invulnerability, to name a few. There are a few boss fights for the player to beat, with one that is well known, with a character that most people who do know, and one that even those of the extended universe would have a hard time identifying. Even I didn't know who he was. And it's all because this game comes from a story that was made specifically for the game, because I don't remember this game being made for the show or vice versa. Either way, I don't think anybody would recognize the story. So we need to talk about what aged well with this game. And a couple of those things are the characters, the hats / dances, and droid variation. The characters are really the star of the show. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's the only redeeming factor of this game, and the only reason I kept playing, because the characters are iconic, especially in 2026. To see them again in a new story is really a breath of fresh air. Granted, if we're being totally honest, the story isn't that great, but compared to some of what Star Wars and Lucasfilms has been releasing recently, it's better than what we could have hoped for. I mean, I'm hoping that the Maul show and the Mandalorian movie are good. But with this story, you play as the different Jedi and the clones, and it made me feel really nostalgic. I almost went back to watching the show over again just because of how much I enjoyed the show and those characters and seeing them again. But towards the end of the game, that feeling nostalgia changed and became more frustration and one where I just wanted to be done. The next part of the game that aged quite well were the hats and dances, because it just gave the characters a bit more life. I mean, they were lively in when they played, but the characters had a little bit more customization. We could put hats on different characters, and it made it really kind of whimsical and funny in a way. And there are a couple moments that I had when I had put characters with certain hats, and it made it kind of comical in a way. And there is a lot of variation to these hats, because you could put a Jawa hat, a Wookiee hat, a Grievous hat, or even a Vader hat on all the different players. And it's kind of ironic because you can put the Vader hat onto Anakin, you know, obviously funny because, you know, he becomes Darth Vader, you know, but it makes it a lot more fun just to see that in cutscenes, because it doesn't get cut out of them and shows their actual face, but it shows the face with the hat or whichever. And then another part that goes along with this weird customization are the dances, and they're good for a laugh, but they're mainly used by me to help when I was surrounded by a lot of enemies. And these dances only occur when they are bought in the shop and when you jump on certain droids and clicking a certain button to have them dance. And the fun part is that all the dances are unique, as well as it playing a little sort of song to have them dance too. And this is especially useful when you're surrounded by enemies and you need to take them out one at a time, and it kind of takes their attention off of you and more of their attention onto the dancing. And going along with the dances is the droid variation. So there are the normal B1 battle droids, or the Roger droids, or Roger. But there are also the super battle droids, the droidicas, the crab droids, the magnet guards, the spider droids, and the sabotage droids. Each of them having a unique mechanic, unique attacks, and that could be utilized by the player to achieve different objectives. So the way that the player would be able to use their mechanics is by jumping on top of them and taking control of them to use whatever special ability that they have. And it makes the game have a bit more variation than just simply going around shooting the droids or slicing them up with your lightsaber. And again, the dance button given to all of those droids that you could jump on top of gives the game a bit more fun and wacky variation to it, so that they're just not forced to constantly slice them up. Finally, is what didn't age well, because oh boy, a lot did not age well. So let's list them out. So a few things of the game that did not age well are the controls, Windows Live, the hand holding, and the camera. And I'm going to go in order from not too bad to terrible. And we're going to start off with the hand holding. Anytime the player is doing something related to a gameplay mechanic, Yoda pops up on the bottom and will describe what to do. And in the beginning, as a tutorial, this is totally fine. I'm expected to see this. I feel like that's normal for most, if not all, games. But by the end, Yoda is still popping up, telling us what to do. It's absolutely unnecessary. The players should know at this point and not need this constant hand-holding from the Grand Master of the Jedi himself. He has better things to do. So yes, while tutorials are good and necessary, it's not needed at the end, and the hand-holding just feels so tedious when we know what to do. The next part that is even worse than the previous one is the camera. Oh, the camera. The camera is not something the player can control, really at all, because every time the player goes from section to section in the mission, the camera moves for the player, and we are forced to look at that certain perspective. So when you play as a Jedi, you can sometimes force push a droid off screen, and then it's difficult to know when the droid is destroyed when you're constantly force pushing. So if the player was able to move the camera, then this problem of knowing when the player can move on would be completely mute. But we don't have that option, so unfortunately, the camera does pose an issue. And this is especially the fucking worst when it comes to the different parkour sections, since there is no way to judge how far something is from where the player is at, and the amount of times I have tried to make a jump and missed and died are countless. And it doesn't help that the respawn time just feels like an eternity. It's honestly so tedious that most people could be turned off from the parkour and the camera in general. And we're moving on from there to something even worse than the previous one, which is Windows Live. Windows Live. I haven't heard a game use of Windows Live since I first started PC gaming. And I first started to play PC games in 2012. And at that time, everybody was using Steam. So what the fuck is Windows Live still doing in a game? When did Windows Live was used? I don't know. I might be just that young, which I don't think I am, to have never used Windows Live. But the worst part about it is that if you do not have a Windows Live account, the game will not save. I don't even know, even if I had an account, or if any of you all had an account and you logged in, I don't know if it would still be accessible, the save, cloud saving that it's apparently trying to do, because it doesn't locally save. There is no local save system in place. Because yes, in the age of 2013, you would expect there to be some local save system. Nope, not at fucking all. So at first, I didn't really believe it. When I read that, I was like, nah, I don't believe that there's no local saving system in place. That's just absolutely unheard of. And then I played the first 3 missions, and I was like, you know what? I really want to test if there's actually no save system in place. I need to know, because if I have to play this all in one session, then I gotta know right now. So I exit out, and at the main menu, there is no load game, no continue game, no saved game, no nothing. So you have to play the game all in one fucking session. It's fucking unheard of. I've never had to play a game in one session. Most of the time, most people want to enjoy it. And especially if this game was enjoyable, maybe one session's fine. But having to do this with a game that has so many things that are so broken about it, can't do it. And lastly are the controls. The controls. I don't know what else to say besides the controls. Besides that they're dog shit. The worst controls I've played for a game. And yeah, recently everybody's been playing Crimson Desert, and they're saying that the controls there are terrible. But once you learn it, it's fine. I don't think if you were to learn the controls here that the game would be any better. I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice by learning the controls. That's how bad these controls are. Because that's just, it's terrible. Like, the controls are so bad that I would rather play a game in one sitting than play with these controls any more than I need to. They just feel janky and slow, and I feel like where I'm trying to go and what I'm trying to do is not at all what I'm inputting. And paired along with this camera, it literally has the worst time ever aiming for the clones and the droids. Because when you take over the droids with the lightsaber, you can aim the droids. But that's completely bullshit, because when you try to aim it, it's either the most sensitive fucking thing in the world, or you're not moving the droid at all. So parts of the game take forever to get through because you can't aim for shit because the controls don't work. And you would think that you'd use your mouse to aim, right? Like any PC person, you would want to use your mouse. Most shooters use a mouse. Most games use a mouse. Nope. The mouse is, you could use it. Oh, you can use it. You can't aim for shit. It actually encourages you to use only the keyboard to move and to walk around. So you would do WASD to move around, and you would use JIKL and sometimes HO and P to do other objectives or other mechanics. So yeah, it's the worst experience I've ever had with controls, ever. And as I've said before, with the amount of deaths that I have accrued to these controls is probably 3 to 5 times more than the deaths I've actually gotten while fighting enemies and bosses. So I probably died to enemies and bosses a handful of times, maybe even, let's say 20 times. I know that's more than a handful, but let's say 20 times just to be fair. I might have died to jumping and parkour and controls and the camera 60 to 100 times, easy. And again, I could just be really shit at the game, but I think if anybody who else plays this game in the future or who already has can agree with me that these controls will make you want to throw your controller out the window. And it's not even like you can rage quit because you have the Windows Live, so you can't even just save your game, throw your thing out the window, or throw your PC, your fucking controller out, out the ground, because you can't save the game for later to play at a point when you're not upset. So this game really just knows how to make a gamer feels so bad about playing a game, making it feel more of a chore than anything else. And after I finished this game in that one session, because I did take breaks, I needed to take breaks because I couldn't do this in one session or in one sitting, that I literally had to complain after I finished the game to Mrs. Bread about how fucking awful of a time I spent playing it. And she was telling me why I even played, and I said, I promised you all. I do. I keep my promises, everyone. I'm promising you all that I will get through this Breadlog. So despite Steam saying that I played this game for around 10 hours, I beat the game in approximately 6. Since I was not able to close the game, I had to just leave it running while I was doing errands or other things around my apartment, and I probably could have beaten the game even quicker in 4.5 hours if the game didn't give me the worst time of my life, dying half the time due to parkour and jumping. And I wanted this game to be over so bad that I did not go out of my way to grab any of the collectibles. And if I did grab any, it was really just because I went the wrong way. Like, not even trying to look for them. I was just trying to speedrun this game and complete it in the one session that I basically had to give myself. Because usually I give myself the allotted time of around 9 days to comb through it and take my time and enjoy it. But nope, had to do it one time, one session. So yeah, 6 hours, probably could have done it quicker, but nope, I had to do it in one session and couldn't take my time to really look at everything for you all. My scale for the backlogged games comes in 3 ranks, and those are toasted, fresh in the bag, and moldy. While the rating for the games is for those who have this piece of bread in their breadlog, it can also be applied to those who are thinking of purchasing this game to add to their breadlog in the future. For the 5th game in the breadlog, I'm going to give Star Wars: The Clone Wars Republic Heroes a moldy ranking. Who would have fucking guessed? This piece of bread's basic mechanics are terrible and make the player feel like an idiot for each missed jump that eventually leads to their death. And the player can't even rage quit because they would lose all their progress due to an antiquated system in place. And not just that, but the game being short doesn't save it at all because the player will wish they were dead before they were ever near completing the 6 hours to finish the game. But besides all that, if this video helped you decide on whether or not to play this game from your breadlog or to purchase to put in your breadlog for later, please comment below. I would love to hear if you guys decided to pick up this game. I think that would be really fun to hear about. I would love to know what you guys think. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot, and it lets me know that you enjoy what I do. I can't wait to eat with you all later. And again, here are some crumbs from trying to record this voiceover. Right. Let's record and just get this over with. Okay, well, not get it over with, but at least just have this done for today, and then I can edit tomorrow. Or maybe, I don't know. Okay. So. Blah, 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 blah. 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 Okay. All right. Finally is the 3rd rating of mold. That wasn't moldy. I'm moldy. That means if the game is fun, then the took my time with. I don't like how this is going. Fans of the show and fans of the universe are knowing. The character hat. The character. It's a lot. Wow, I'm just fucking all of this. Blah, blah, blah.